You keep seeing their name on receipts, in playlists, across street signs, in books you randomly open, whispered in conversations you weren't even part of. At first, you told yourself it was coincidence, but then it happened again and again. And now you're here, asking the question that haunts every moment of unexpected recognition. What does this mean? The universe doesn't send junk mail. Every synchronicity, every repetition, every name that appears like a ghost in your daily life is a message. But here's what most people get wrong. They think seeing their ex's name means they're supposed to go back. That the universe is nudging them toward reconciliation, toward a second chance, toward the person they walked away from or who walked away from them. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is far more profound, far more essential to your evolution. The universe isn't trying to bring you back to them. It's trying to bring you back to yourself. Let's start with what you're feeling right now. The moment you see that name, something shifts inside you. Your stomach drops. Your heart skips. For a split second, the world tilts on its axis and you're thrown back into memories you thought you'd sealed away. You're scrolling through your phone and suddenly there it is. A friend request from someone with the same name. You're walking through a bookstore and a novel's protagonist shares their exact name. You're listening to a song and the lyrics mention it. Each time it's like being tapped on the shoulder by the past. And each time you wonder, am I losing my mind or is something bigger at play? You're not losing your mind, but something bigger is absolutely at play. Most people experience this as a cruel joke, a cosmic taunt, a reminder of what they've lost. They interpret these synchronicities through the lens of pain, nostalgia, or regret. They think the universe is rubbing salt in their wounds, forcing them to remember someone they're trying to forget. But that's the surface interpretation. That's the ego's translation. The truth is deeper, stranger, and ultimately more liberating. When you keep seeing your ex's name, you're not being haunted by them. You're being called to complete something within yourself. Carl Jung spoke about synchronicity as meaningful coincidence, events that are connected not by cause and effect, but by meaning. When your ex's name keeps appearing, it's not random chaos. It's a pattern seeking resolution. But here's the key. The pattern isn't about them. It's about the unfinished chapter inside you, the lesson you haven't fully learned, the part of yourself you haven't fully reclaimed, the healing you haven't fully allowed. Think of it this way. Every relationship is a mirror. When you're with someone, you're not just interacting with them, you're interacting with reflections of yourself. Your fears, your desires, your wounds, your strengths. All of it gets projected onto the other person and reflected back to you. When the relationship ends, the mirror doesn't disappear. It just stops being held by them. And if you haven't fully looked at what that mirror was showing you, if you haven't fully integrated the lesson, the universe will keep reminding you. Not because you need to go back to the relationship, but because you need to go back to the mirror. Seeing their name is the universe saying, there's something here you haven't fully processed, something you haven't fully released, something you haven't fully learned. It could be a pattern you keep repeating, a belief you keep holding, a version of yourself you keep abandoning. The name is just a trigger, a bookmark in the story of your evolution, marking a chapter that still needs your attention. Let's go deeper. From a quantum perspective, everything is energy and vibration. When you were with your ex, you were entangled with their energetic frequency. Your thoughts, emotions, and nervous system became attuned to theirs. Even after the physical separation, that energetic residue remains. Not because you're cosmically bound to them forever, but because you haven't fully disentangled your own energy from the experience. When their name keeps appearing, it's a signal that there's still energetic charge around that connection. Still unprocessed emotion, still unresolved attachment or resistance. Now here's where it gets interesting. The appearance of the name isn't pulling you backward, it's actually pushing you forward. It's your higher self, your soul, your inner wisdom using external signs to direct your attention inward. Every time you see that name, you have a choice. You can spiral into the story. Why did it end? What if we tried again? Do they think of me? Should I reach out? Or you can recognize the invitation to pause, to breathe, to ask, what am I being asked to heal here? What part of this story am I still carrying? What truth am I still avoiding? If this message resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and join a community of awakened souls walking the same journey of spiritual alignment. Most people resist this process. They want the name to stop appearing because it's uncomfortable. It disrupts their forward momentum. It makes them feel like they're going backward when they're trying to move on. But here's what the Stoics understood. Resistance creates suffering. When you resist what is, when you fight against the signs the universe is giving you, you stay stuck. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because you're refusing the lesson. The name will keep appearing until you stop running from it and start asking what it's teaching you. So what are the common lessons hidden in this synchronicity? Let's look at a few. First, unhealed attachment. Maybe you left the relationship, but part of you never fully let go. Not of them necessarily, but of the version of yourself you were with them, or the potential you thought the relationship had, or the fantasy you built around what it could have been. Seeing their name is a reminder that you're still holding on energetically, that somewhere in your subconscious, you're still replaying the story, still clinging to a chapter that's already closed. Second, unspoken truth. Maybe there were things you never said, feelings you never expressed, needs you never voiced, boundaries you never set. The relationship ended, but the words didn't. They're still inside you, circling like birds with nowhere to land. The name keeps appearing because your soul is trying to get your attention. These words need to come out, not necessarily to your ex, but to yourself. You need to say them out loud, write them down, speak them into the void. Not to reopen the door, but to close it completely. Third, repeated patterns. Maybe the relationship ended, but the pattern that created it is still alive in you. Maybe you keep choosing people who are emotionally unavailable, or who mirror your own wounds, or who validate your limiting beliefs about love. The universe isn't showing you their name to make you go back. It's showing you their name to say, look at the pattern. See it clearly, so you can break it before you repeat it again. Fourth, parts of yourself you abandoned. This is the deepest one. Often in relationships, we suppress parts of ourselves to fit. We shrink our desires, mute our needs, soften our edges, dim our light. We become what we think the other person wants, and in the process, we lose ourselves. When the relationship ends, those suppressed parts don't just come back automatically. They have to be reclaimed. Seeing your ex's name is your lost self trying to get your attention. It's saying, I'm still here. You left me behind. Come back for me. Now, here's the shift. Once you understand that the name isn't a sign to return to them, but a sign to return to yourself, everything changes. You stop interpreting the synchronicity as a cosmic breadcrumb trail leading you back to a closed door. You start interpreting it as a spotlight illuminating the work you still need to do, the healing you still need to honor, the truth you still need to speak, the pattern you still need to break, the part of yourself you still need to reclaim. And when you do that work, when you stop running from the name and start sitting with what it's pointing to, something miraculous happens. The name stops appearing. Not because the universe stops sending you signs, but because you no longer need that particular sign. You've received the message, you've done the work, you've integrated the lesson, the chapter is complete. This is where the real transformation begins, when you stop seeing their name as a ghost from the past and start seeing it as a guide for your future. Every time it appears, instead of spiraling, you pause, you breathe, you ask, what am I being shown right now? What am I being called to heal, release, or reclaim? And in that pause, in that question, you take your power back. You stop being a victim of coincidence and start being a conscious co-creator of your reality. Let's talk about what this looks like in practice. Say you see their name on a coffee cup. Instead of sinking into sadness or confusion, you take a moment. You close your eyes. You tune into your body. You ask, what am I feeling right now? Maybe it's grief. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's longing. Whatever it is, you let yourself feel it fully. Not to indulge it, but to honor it, to give it space, to let it move through you instead of staying stuck inside you. And in that moment of feeling, you're healing, you're processing, you're completing the energetic loop. Or say you hear their name in a song. Instead of replaying memories, you ask, what was I avoiding in that relationship? What truth did I not speak? What need did I not honor? And then you speak it, out loud, in a journal, to a friend, to the universe. You say the thing you never said. You honor the need you never honored. You set the boundary you never set. And in that moment of speaking, you're reclaiming your voice. You're taking back the power you gave away. Or say you see their name in a book title. Instead of wondering if it's a sign to reach out, you ask, what pattern from that relationship am I still repeating? What belief am I still holding? And then you examine it. You look at your current relationships, your current choices, your current behaviors. You see the thread that connects then to now. And you make a different choice, a conscious choice, a choice that breaks the pattern instead of perpetuating it. This is the alchemy. This is how you turn synchronicity into transformation. You stop being passive. You stop being a spectator in your own story. You become active. You become the author. You use the signs the universe gives you not as proof of destiny with another person, but as invitations to create your own destiny by healing yourself. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you stop needing the name to mean something about them, it starts meaning everything about you. It becomes a tool for your awakening, a compass for your evolution, a reminder that you're not a victim of the past, but a creator of the future. That every synchronicity is a conversation between your soul and the universe, and you get to choose how you respond. Now let's address the question that's probably running through your mind right now. What if it is a sign that we're meant to be together? What if the universe really is trying to bring us back together? Here's the truth. If a relationship is truly meant to return, it will. But not because you saw their name on a billboard, not because you interpreted a synchronicity as a cosmic green light. It will return because both of you have done the inner work. Because both of you have healed the wounds that ended it the first time. Because both of you have grown into versions of yourselves that can hold a different kind of connection. Seeing their name over and over doesn't mean you're meant to be together. It means you're meant to heal. And sometimes that healing leads to reunion, but more often that healing leads to release, to freedom, to the ability to move forward without the weight of the past dragging you down. And that ultimately is the gift the universe is offering you. Not a second chance with them, but a first chance at a fully healed version of yourself. Think of it like this. You're walking through a forest, and you keep seeing the same tree. Not because the tree is chasing you, but because you're walking in circles. The tree isn't the problem. The circle is. And the only way to stop seeing the tree is to change your path, to break the circle, to move in a new direction. That's what seeing your ex's name is showing you. You're walking in circles, repeating the same patterns, holding the same wounds, avoiding the same truths. And the name will keep appearing until you break the circle. So how do you break it? You start by getting radically honest with yourself. You stop romanticizing the past. You stop rewriting history to make it softer, kinder, more palatable. You look at the relationship for what it was, not just the good parts, but the parts that didn't work, the parts that hurt, the parts that showed you exactly where you needed to grow, and you thank those parts, because they were the most honest parts, the parts that held the real lesson. Then you ask yourself, what did this relationship teach me about myself? Not about love in general, not about relationships in theory, but about me. What did it reveal about my fears, my needs, my boundaries, my worth? What did it show me about the ways I abandon myself or shrink myself or betray myself in the name of connection? And once you see it, once you really see it, you commit to never doing it again. You commit to honoring yourself more fully in the next relationship and in every relationship, including the one you have with yourself. And then you release. Not with force, not with anger, but with gratitude. You release them. You release the relationship. You release the fantasy of what it could have been. You release the attachment to the outcome. You release the need for closure or apology or acknowledgement. You release all of it, and you trust that the universe will catch it, that the letting go will create space for something new, something aligned, something that actually fits the person you're becoming. This is the real reason their name keeps appearing. Not to take you back, but to set you free, to show you that you're ready to let go fully, to trust that the ending was not a mistake, but a redirection, a clearing of space, a making room for what's truly meant for you. And when you finally do let go, when you finally release the energetic charge around their name, around the relationship, around the past, something shifts in your external reality. The name stops appearing, or when it does, it no longer triggers you. It becomes just a name again, neutral, powerless, a word with no emotional weight, and that's how you know you're free. Not because you never think of them, but because when you do, it doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't pull you backward. It doesn't disrupt your peace. It's just a chapter you once lived, now complete, now integrated, now part of the story that brought you here. This is the transformation the universe is inviting you into. This is the awakening hidden in the synchronicity. You're not being haunted by their name. You're being called to your wholeness, to your power, to your truth. And every time you see it, you have a choice. You can let it pull you into the past, or you can let it push you into your future. You can let it be a wound, or you can let it be a teacher. You can let it keep you small, or you can let it make you whole. So the next time you see their name, don't panic. Don't spiral. Don't reach for your phone to text them or stalk their social media or reopen the door you've been trying to close. Instead, pause. Breathe. Place your hand on your heart and ask, what am I being shown? What am I being called to heal? What part of myself am I being invited to